So that's what I say when America was great. There was a lot of opportunities for everybody that wanted a job or to study. Now, if you go to college, man, you're going to be in debt up the yin yang because those colleges are ripping off those kids that cannot afford to pay back. That's why they're asking for the government to pay because they give you a loan for a certain amount at a high interest, a high compound interest. By the time you finish studying, you owe $500,000. That's abuse. It's not fair. And some people are getting a degree and then they can't find a job. There was a guy online saying that he had a degree in one thing. I don't know what it was. And he says he couldn't find a job. He had to work in a pizza place. That that's why I said it's not worth going to college. It's better to get a trade because if you go to a trade school, you're not going to be owing so much money and you can get a job right away because the trades are always going to be around: electrician, plumbing, carpentry, roofing. I know a guy that he's a roofer. He does a lot of stuff, but mainly he's a roofer. He's my roofer. He's got a ranch up in the desert with horses and everything. He loves horses. That's his thing. And he's driving a nice diesel GMC truck. Nobody gave it to him. The government's not going to give you nothing. You got to do it for yourself. And he, the thing is, it's not really about having a job. It's about having a business. Because you can work for somebody, and they're going to give you a salary. You're going to get an hourly wage, but you're not really going to make any money. You got to learn something. Then you can say, okay, I'm going to open up a store. Or I'm going to open up a shop. And you are going to make money. But the problem is, in this state, you're going to get taxed to death. I mean, the taxes here are outrageous. Outrageous. But I've known many people, they're already retired. Guy had a machine shop, rebuilding, working on heads, engine blocks, and he made a good amount of money. He's got a couple of properties. Companies have brought back over $1 trillion from overseas because of the TCJA bill that Trump signed. Under Trump, the FDA approved more affordable generic drugs than ever before in history. The U.S. is a net natural gas exporter for the first time since 1957. Moved the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. That was supposed to be the end of the world. Nothing happened. Okay. Okay, it says here, imposed tariffs on China in response to China's forced technology transfer, intellectual property theft, and their chronicle abused trade practices, has agreed to a Part 1 trade with China. Because they were stealing a lot of the, let's say you have an idea, you have an invention, and you move to China to produce your equipment, whatever machine, whatever, and the Chinese said, well, you can't produce anything here until you tell us and give us the plans and the patents. So basically they were stealing a lot of stuff, and then they were raking in the money. They basically say, well, we're not going to let you produce anything, we're going to keep it. And I heard a long time ago They bought in the 70s. They bought a 707 Boeing jet. Only one. They bought only one plane from Boeing. They took it to China. They took it apart and did reverse engineering, and then they started building their own planes, copying the 707. That is theft, because they didn't want to buy it from Boeing. They wanted to save the money. So what good is it if you come up with an idea, an invention, or a cure, or whatever it is, and you can't benefit the profit from your invention when somebody else is going to steal it? Is that going to be fair? When you did the engineering and you did everything and you did all the testing, and it takes years. Don't you think that you just come up with an idea on a plane and in 4 or 6 months it's up and going? No, there's a lot of testing, a lot of engineering, a lot of manufacturing, and then they have to take it through all kinds of paces and take it up in the sky, and then there's a test that they do. I know this because I used to work in the industry, and I know some engineers. They say that they take a plane up, and there's a tanker plane in front of it full of water, and they have this spout on the side there on the back of the plane, and the pilot from the new plane has to position himself behind that spigot, and then they open up the water and they flood the engine to see if they can turn it off in a storm. They figure out how many gallons per second in a rainstorm, and they make it like the worst storm there is, and they fly into that to see if the engine can take it. Because when you're flying, if you're in a storm, say you're going into South America and there's a big storm, or you're in the Pacific, it's a big storm, and the engine gets flooded and shuts down, you're going down. You're going down into the ocean. You're going to kill a bunch of people. So they do those tests. A lot of people don't know that. And the Chinese took the plane and they said, okay, it passed the test. We're going to copy now. Okay, President Trump signed into law a $2.4 billion funding increase in the Child Care and Development Fund, providing a total of $8.1 billion to state fund child care and low-income families. Okay, let me see. I don't have to go through the whole thing. Everything he has done is to help Americans. It's not to help corporations. It's to help Americans. Okay, it says here, 2019 President Trump signed into law 2 funding packages providing nearly $19 million in a new funding for lupus specified research and education program, as well as additional $41.7 million in funding for the National Institute of Health. The most lupus funding ever. Lupus, I've heard of that, but I don't know exactly what it does. It's one of those rare diseases. He's talking about Google here, and remove the bias from Google, that they were kind of looking into your videos or your comments, and they were canceling you or spying on you. And it says here, please explain to me why you have a problem with our president, because he has spoken a few times. Tell me when you find a perfect person, please. I'll wait and I'll tell you why, because the media has screwed up him in such a negative light and unfair report to accomplish the undetermined those achievements. The media is complicit in every single thing that this man is trying to undo, and start thinking for yourself. So you can look it up. This is on a website that is called, let me see. I can't find it. It's there's a lot of. A friend of mine sent me this, and I send it to everybody else that I know. So he's got here bill after bill after bill that he's done for the good of the people, not for him. He wasn't even making money as a president. He was charging $1. And the day that Biden took power, he sat in that desk and he started undoing everything that he did. He just sat there and signed off and removed this and removed that and removed it. He had a stack of bills that Trump did, and he completely removed them. I say there should be a law by Congress that if a president is doing a good thing for the country and for the people, there's no way you can remove that, because the special interests are the ones telling the puppet that is not convenient for me. I need you to remove that. So the pharmaceuticals, the politicians, everybody that they're in their pockets. You know, the politicians get money under the table, donations they call it. And it was affecting their pocketbook, and that's why nobody wants Trump, because they were making buku bucks. Same thing with the companies that are making weapons, sending to Ukraine and sending to Israel. You think that they want a president that says, no, we're not going to be doing any more sales to these countries until they ran out. That's it, nothing more, and stop the war. You know, good is good and evil is evil. That's the way I see it. So you think for yourself. I mean, go online and just Google. Google, you know, Google's controlling the information too. But see if you can find and just kind of word and say the good things that Trump did when he was in the White House. And you're probably going to get a list. The only thing is that Trump likes to go down to the personal level, and that's one thing I don't like with him, that he gets a little bit mouthy and he starts telling people, oh, he's stupid, he's retarded, and you don't need to go there. If the person is stupid, like some of the people we have going now, ha 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 ha, you know what I'm talking about, she's retarded. Well, it's for me to say, not for the president to say, because people already know. People already know. So if he doesn't go down to the personal, if he only touches on the facts, touches on the policies, then a lot of people will like him. But when you start going down to the personal and ridicule, people and making fun of people, and that's people say, oh, he's obnoxious and I don't like him because of this. And I said, well, you know, nobody's perfect. But he's done a lot of good for the country. In fact, there's a few things still that they haven't removed because it's helping the economy. Nobody wants to ruin the economy, but this idiot has done his utmost to ruin it, because the thing with the electric cars, the things that we have in the state, with everything else, that they keep coming up with new stupidity. You know, please hire for the job, hire people with intelligence, not with the feelings. You're not going to get nothing with feelings. You got to get somebody that knows what he's doing. And he has demonstrated, Trump has demonstrated, he knows how to deal. He knows how to deal with all these countries. Okay? Not every country is a saint. There's some evil countries. Everybody's have to, out for themselves. And that's what you got to look at. He's done more for the blacks than anybody else. He has done more for the Latins. He has done more for the country. I mean, fuel was $2.45. in California. It was a dollar something in the other states, $1.75 or $1.89, something like that. Here, that was unheard of, unheard of. And over here, we're still at 4.89 because he started producing oil from the country. He didn't have to buy so much from overseas, and that's why the prices went down. The Arabs were nervous because the Arabs need the steady money coming in, and they were getting the steady money selling oil. But when Trump said, "No, we're going to start doing our own thing here. We don't need that much oil from you," and they didn't like that. So everybody had a lot to lose with him. Not the big corporations making money because of him. They're making money now with the ñame that we have in power, you know. And now they're going to have somebody even worse because this lady, all she does is cackle like an idiot. She's really retarded. Uh, Same thing with the OESC and all these people that they think that they're doing good and they're actually ruining. You know, look what happens in New York. I got a cousin from New York. He says you can't walk the street. It's full of bums. It's full of illegals. It's full of crime. There were some illegals that 3 days after they arrived, they beat up a cop. You know, they kicked him there on the ground because he was by himself. And that didn't happen before because we didn't have that open border that we have now, which is a mess. It's going to take years to repair the damage and take some of those people out of here because those people don't belong here. You got to go through the process. And the process is that they're going to check your background. If you're in drugs, if you're a criminal, you're not going to be allowed. Only the good people. Because this country needs good people. But not the criminals, not the psychos, not the terrorists. That's what you got to think about when you're going to vote. You think you're safe now? Look what's happening in West LA. They're breaking into homes every single night. They're breaking into stores by the hundreds and ripping everything off and destroying everything. People are losing their minds. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Just think about it.